Thank you for attending SAP on AWS, how UCT is experiencing better performance on AWS while saving 40% in infrastructure cost with Mactores. My name is Bill Tim. I'm a solutions architect at AWS, and I will be your host and moderator for today's webinar. Today, I'm joined by Dan Marks of Mactores and Victor Gonzalez of Ultra Clean Technology. I will start today's webinar by providing an overview of Amazon Web Services for SAP. The AWS SAP relationship started in early 2008 when SAP began using AWS themselves as a customer. SAP continues to use AWS today for a variety of use cases, including running SAP demo, developer, and training systems on AWS, offering trials and developer editions of many of their solutions on AWS through the SAP Cloud Appliance Library. SAP also uses AWS for some of their solution offerings. The SAP National Security Services Organization runs SAP SuccessFactors for the national security community in the AWS GovCloud region. AWS began our SAP partnership in 2011 as an SAP Global Technology Partner. Since that time, AWS and SAP have worked closely together to certify the AWS Cloud for SAP Solutions and to develop innovative solutions to enable SAP customers to accelerate their digital transformations. The AWS Cloud Platform provides SAP customers many benefits. AWS currently offers over 90 cloud services. Our breadth and depth of services enable organizations to improve business efficiency and more easily integrate their SAP application workloads with emerging technologies like IoT, artificial intelligence, and big data. Running your SAP workloads on AWS enables you to reduce total cost of ownership. With AWS, you have access to low-cost IT infrastructure that you can rapidly provision and deprovision on demand, helping to minimize the overhead associated with hardware maintenance. Cloud security at AWS is the highest priority. As an AWS customer, you will benefit from data center and network architecture built to meet the requirements of the most security-sensitive organizations. AWS Cloud Compliance and Assurance programs enable customers to understand the robust controls in place at AWS to maintain security and data protection in the cloud. AWS and SAP have worked together closely to certify the AWS Cloud Platform so SAP customers can be ensured that they will receive the same level of support from SAP when running on AWS as they do today. SAP products based on SAP NetWeaver 7.0 or higher have been certified and are fully supported by SAP for production on AWS. This includes solutions like SAP Business Suite Applications, SAP Business Warehouse, SAP S4 HANA, BW for HANA, and many others. SAP database solutions including SAP HANA, SAP ASE, IQ, Replication Server, and the SAP mobile solutions are also all supported on AWS. All of the x86 operating system platforms supported by SAP are supported for running SAP solutions on AWS, and all of the database platforms supported by SAP for NetWeaver-based solutions are also supported by SAP on AWS. The Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, or EC2, is a web service that provides secure, resizable compute capacity in the cloud. The AWS On-Demand Cloud Platform has been certified to meet the high-performance requirements of SAP HANA and is fully supported by SAP for production workloads. AWS enables you to provision infrastructure for SAP HANA on demand with no required upfront cost, commitment, or lead time. With AWS, you only pay for the amount of infrastructure you provision and only for the amount of time needed. EC2 instance types are available and certified for SAP HANA with up to 4 terabytes of memory for scale-up systems and up to 34 terabytes for scale-out systems, with plans for larger instance types in the near future. The AWS Cloud is built on a global infrastructure comprised of regions and availability zones. A region is a physical location in the world where we have multiple availability zones. Availability zones consist of one or more discrete data centers, each with redundant power, networking, and connectivity housed in separate facilities. Availability zones offer you the ability to operate production applications and databases which are more highly available, fault-tolerant, and scalable than would be possible from a single data center. The AWS Cloud currently operates 44 availability zones within 16 geographic regions around the world, with plans for 14 more availability zones and 5 more regions in China, France, Hong Kong, Sweden, and a second AWS GovCloud region in the US. To help you begin your journey to the cloud, we have created a set of resources to assist you. On the SAP section of the AWS website, you can find SAP white papers, blog posts, and frequently asked questions covering topics like SAP on AWS migration, operations, backup recovery, licensing, high availability, and disaster recovery. You can also find AWS infrastructure pricing estimates for sample SAP architectures. To accelerate and simplify the deployment of SAP HANA on AWS, we have built the SAP HANA Quick Start reference deployment that automates the provisioning of all of the required AWS infrastructure components for an SAP HANA system. The SAP Rapid Migration Test Program is a set of processes, procedures, and tools SAP developed in collaboration with AWS to help customers understand the cost, effort, potential risk, and business values of migrating SAP solutions to SAP HANA. With this program, a test migration of an SAP solution from any database to SAP HANA can be completed in days versus weeks or months compared to other infrastructure options. A test migration to SAP HANA on AWS can be done with minimal infrastructure costs, since you only need to pay for the amount of infrastructure required and only for the amount of time needed without a long-term commitment. To help you with your journey to the cloud, the AWS Partner Network, or APN, contains SAP partners that can help you migrate existing SAP environments to AWS, implement new SAP solutions on AWS, or test and evaluate SAP solutions on AWS. APN SAP partners can also provide ongoing SAP hosting or managed services on top of AWS. And additionally, there are APN SAP partners that offer software solutions to address specific areas like high availability, backup and recovery, and system migration and replication. This is the perfect time to transition the webinar to one of our APN SAP partners, Mactores. So I'm going to pass control over to Dan Marks of Mactores, who will take over the webinar from here. Go ahead, Dan.
Great, thanks, Bill. We absolutely appreciate the support provided by the partner program and really enjoy being the feet on the ground for customers looking to apply all the power and possibilities of AWS. My name's Dan, and I'll do some introduction to Mactores, and let's get started. So Mactores is a born in the cloud company, which simply means we're cloud first and got our start in 2008 when AWS introduced the first public cloud. In the beginning, we worked with the AWS engineering team to help migrate corporations from on-premise to AWS. And since that time, has delivered architecture diagrams and deployment plans to over 300 organizations globally. But for today, I wanted to share some specifics around how we've come to master the challenges of this highly mission-critical application we all know and love as SAP. I want to address some very specific challenges and highlight some unique requirements from many different angles. Then I'm going to share with you 4 or 5 really cool and unique solutions we've designed for customers once their transformation has happened, kind of an extension of where they can go. And in addition to all that, I'm excited to introduce to you one of our customers, Victor, who will share UCT's SAP on AWS experience momentarily. But first, let me start by sharing a statement and a question that's common during almost every conversation I have with customers, including Victor. And that is, my landscape is much more complex than most. And you know what? It's true. It's a true statement. Everybody can be the truth by saying that. There's not a common or simple landscape, which ultimately leads to the question, though, as people kind of warm up to the idea. So what are the challenges others are addressing by transforming SAP to the cloud? What problems are they fixing? So there are many, but every customer experiences 8 common challenges that need to get addressed and get fixed. And so I'll get into that in just a bit. But before that, I want to let you know that Mactores has a very battle-tested framework specific to delivering SAP on AWS with a holistic methodology. So first we plot, right? We're going to gather all the information about your SAP landscape. We're going to build and scope a strategy for the transformation. Next, we're going to scan. We're going to do all the analysis and what we've gathered, and then we're going to validate all that, right? And we're going to validate all that information we have with your existing deployment. Next, we'll craft. We'll build a technical and a business solution to get the approvals. And fourth, we're going to solve. We're going to deploy the project. We provide the solution specific to you and your landscape. And by doing this, we're going to deliver 3 valuable outcomes to you. One is an end state architecture. Second is a business case, a TCO, and a deployment roadmap. So next, Mactores has a full team of AWS and SAP certified engineers. We hire and train and go through our Mactores Center of Excellence apprentice program, focused around the expertise needed for modernizing the enterprise infrastructure. So here's the deal. This is an important point because it affords us the opportunity to align our engineering team and expertise to the industries which leverage SAP, so we can specialize in the various requirements, such as compliance and security, which always seems to be kind of the leading topic. Of course, every industry is looking to understand how to leverage the cloud, but if I had to pick out a few where we see the most activity right now, especially as it relates to SAP on AWS, it would include the manufacturing, financial services, healthcare, professional services, and retail. Okay, so although I'm fired up for SAP on AWS, there are some challenges, right? Everything has something to navigate around. So let's start with that earlier statement about every customer landscape is the most complex. It's true. And there's some things that everybody must confront. So let's outline those 8 challenges. First is the business processes. Next, compliance. Also, governance. Data, right? Data is huge. Cyber risk. Analytics. 7th is business continuity. And finally, cloud economics. So those are your core 8 factors. And then this helps drive a variety of the scenarios that you see on your screen, right? Cost reduction and database migration and backup and so on. And that's where our advisory framework will provide you 3 key solutions. These are solutions that are interconnected lifecycle of an SAP transformation. And it includes the consulting and design, which is the assessment that we were referencing earlier. The integration of all the ins and outs through the implementation factors. And then the management to grow and refine as needed, right through the operation and maintenance of your system. So there's some really invaluable stuff here. And so because we've done this, right, our experience provides the basis for ready-to-run scripts. So because we worked hard to understand your landscape through that plot and scan and craft and solve we discussed, this means we've collected the right kind of information, and we can now feed this into our Mactores IP. This creates an automated script which delivers customers these 4 very valuable outcomes that you see on your screen here. First and foremost is it's just faster. So now months are now hours. And this includes projects that involve 7 environments with products like S4 HANA, Obj, Fiori, Lumira, BW4 HANA, and PI. Zero's the hero, right? Zero downtime. We've helped customers scale BW4 HANA from 244 GB databases to as large as 34 terabytes with scale without any interruption. And of course, the efficiency, 60% efficiency, 60% cost savings as compared to traditional on-premise. And then lastly, we help create a path that opens up the opportunity to provide just kind of an ongoing value around advanced analytics like machine learning and AI. These are invaluable and massive differentiators. What makes this traditionally an overwhelming and long process can come into focus and go much, much faster. So, our framework leads to many important transformations by bridging the gap between business and IT. It's from the core, like we talked about at the beginning, where we're going to give you the rationale that's needed to make decisions, both from a technical and a business perspective. We do this by radically simplifying the infrastructure management and provisioning the new services. So on the left side, right, we're reducing infrastructure efforts and costs. On the right side, we're improving business agility and continuity. And this is what bridges that traditional gap that often exists between business and IT. So how do we help you make this change? We're helping you change the profile of your SAP by making your SAP, one, smart on the cloud, providing operational efficiencies, dynamic business continuity, even BI and analytics are all part of making your SAP smart on the cloud. Secondarily, we're going to collect and store data, right? Draw insights from the data, leverage data across the business, even apply machine learning and AI as needed or as appropriate. Third, with the cloud services, we want to have a bimodal capability to exploit and explore, right? Infrastructure as a service, a governance framework. All of this is the pillars by which we're going to make that changing profile of your SAP. And fourth, the digital transformation, digital performance and analytics and infrastructure models, and just being able to bridge the digital disconnect. So, with all that said, we're kind of coming back to the idea that it really is a 360-degree view of how we approach this. And this diagram here in front of you, we could talk all day on, but it's fairly complex. But I do want to call out just one area that kind of jumps out at me, and that's the system copy. In the upper right-hand quadrant, system copy, as you know, traditionally takes weeks, if not months, but we can do that now in minutes. So just as an example of what we're talking about from an automation standpoint and experience standpoint, the automation is a major differentiator. So if you believe the old saying that time is money, having this holistic approach, you really do save a ton of money and a ton of time. So anyway, as promised, I also wanted to share some cool solutions we've developed once customers have their SAP on AWS. So now that we've kind of talked through that process, and I'll invite Victor in to share some more details here in a moment, I did want to just share some unique kind of extra workload ideas. So here, if we just take a look at the one in front of us, we got Amazon Lex, and did we skip one there? Nope, okay. Amazon Lex and Poly. So this innovation here is about a factory using our IoT solution, measuring all the temperatures in the devices. So by having this successful IoT, it allows you to leverage a highly automated and intelligent solution that includes bots delivering these relevant actions based on the data in your SAP to perform actions on their own. So we can automate the mundane decisions like temperature, or quality assurance, or alerts, and things like that. And it gives a real-life end-to-end automation. So IoT communicates with the devices, Lambda takes action, Lex is the bot inside SAP that asks or notifies the user when a difference is noted, and then actions can perform. we take a look at the AWS LexBot, this is using bots with your employees. So in this case, a sales rep is needing marketing performance metrics via his or her mobile. Sales rep interacts with the chatbot. The bot then accesses information from various locations to provide specific answers to their questions. So it's collating data from SAP and various third-party apps. Here's one that highlights IoT with Lambda and Cognito. So in this innovation, what we're doing is helping a third-party contractors to access the SAP data securely. So specifically using their mobile applications, they have a serverless integration to SAP, and it provides relevant SAP information to third-party contractors. And all of this is through the high security of AWS Cognito. One more I wanted to show you here. It involves machine learning, and I like this one just because, again, machine learning tends to be a hot topic, and people like to kind of gather around the campfire, so to speak, to learn more about it. So this one's a simple design, yet really highly valuable and effective. It's a real-time data that can be collected through Kinesis to process within the machine learning. So this provides in predictions within SAP. So this helps managers, business owners, et cetera, optimize whatever it is they need to optimize. Could be ordering, could be changing of direction, things of that nature. But it's a very simple, elegant, highly effective, and just a great way to begin leveraging the power of AWS once you've had your SAP transformation. And then just one last one here is advanced analytics. And this one is also a simple next step to take regardless of industry, regardless of function. And it just highlights kind of the visibility. It brings awareness to the rest of the organization that you have transformed, that you have made a change. By taking multiple data files, right, SAP, raw data from all different factors, and then this helps our customers perform super fast parallel in-memory and connected BI solutions, such as some of these dashboards that I have here in front of you right now. So again, just a basic scenario of being able to get visualization in front of people. So we have retail example here. We have some asset management for financial, sales, dashboard. Again, it doesn't mean much unless it's yours, but these dashboards bring a lot of visibility to the folks. So with that then, I'd like to say thanks for listening, and I'd like to take this time to introduce a living example of a person and a company that's all in on transforming their SAP landscape. So please, let's welcome Victor Gonzalez, VP of Global IT for UCT. And Victor is going to be sharing his experience and insights of his SAP on AWS transformation. So,
Dan, thank you very much.
Hey, Victor. Yeah. Hey, Victor. Why don't you, first off, why don't you just tell us a little bit about UCT and the work that UCT is doing and your role within all of this?
Well, Dan, I'm VP of Global IT and responsible for all infrastructure within UCT at a global level. UCT was founded in '91. We are headquartered in Hayward, California. We have manufacturing facilities in Asia, Europe, and the US. We're a global leader in design, engineering, manufacturing of production tools, modules, and subsystems for the semiconductor capital equipment industry. We provide our customers with specialized solutions for highly complex, highly configurable applications. And looking at the semiconductor industry, which continues to be dynamic, fueled by new nodes, new logic, memory architecture, and new materials, it has driven growth towards UCT to new levels of performance in order to leverage our geographic presence in lower cost manufacturing regions. Our manufacturing facilities are required and are in need to leverage the same processes and procedures, enabling us to respond rapidly and flexibly to demand changes from our customers. We need to continue to grow in capabilities along our customers wherever they need us to be.
Well, thanks, Victor. So now, you and I have done a lot of talking, so I hope I'm not divulging too many secrets here, but you've brought a new mantra to your UCT transformation I think everybody would find interesting. Can you tell us what that is, what that's about?
Well, I joined UCT approximately a little bit over a year and a half, and during that time what I kept hearing was crawl, walk, and run, crawl, walk, and run. So what I did was a slight modification. It's a rather simple mantra, and the mantra is primarily simplify, standardize, and centralize. We needed, once I looked at our environment, we needed to simplify our processes in order to gain speed. We had to standardize our processes in order to establish uniformity across all of our sites at a global scale. We had to centralize our processes so that any geographical location can leverage any process.
So now, I know a common trap people find themselves in when discussing the possibility of implementing a new system is thinking that they're going to be replacing one system for another. So how did you approach that discussion at UCT?
That would probably be common standard. In our case, like you mentioned earlier, where everybody's a special circumstance. In our case, it was more of a business transformation. It was not just changing a legacy system for SAP. We needed to understand that this was a greenfield implementation. We were definitely not replacing legacy system with SAP. All of our documents, our processes, and our procedures were reviewed in order to make this happen. UCT primarily grew from acquisitions which had disparate systems and processes. Once the legacy system, approximately 10 years ago, was put in place, we were able to contain and centralize some of the processes that we had. However, not all of them were standardized or even centralized for that matter. A lot of the sites retained their tribal knowledge and processes. So having reached the legacy systems limitation as well, we opted to move to a Tier 1 ERP system, which led to a complete business transformation process.
That's fantastic. So what was the motivation then behind this transformation?
It was primarily the high growth environment demands in semi driving UCT to new levels of performance. Our facilities had to leverage the same processes and same procedures, enabling us to be nimble to any demand changes from our customers. It didn't matter where in the globe.
Right. Okay. Well, so now that we know your story, I guess I could be forward enough to state it seems like you're talking about finding something that is low cost, therefore perhaps a little lower risk. So is that how you came to select SAP on AWS, or what were some of the challenges that led you down this path?
We had three key factors or challenges, if you will. Our current legacy system was unable to handle current business demands. We were unable to upgrade the system due to several high-level customizations done throughout the years. We were definitely overdue for a system upgrade. The system was approximately 10 years old or older. Database management and Excel-based reporting was a painful exercise, as everybody knows. We went through the standard process of evaluating business requirements, went through exhaustive vendor evaluation, reviewed total cost of ownership, and SAP met the criteria and requirements. From a hosting perspective, we looked at options such as public cloud, private cloud, vCloud, on-prem. We even looked at tech solutions. Not being an SAP house, we were not knowledgeable in SAP. That was a huge factor. We needed resources and speed of response. which were some of the contributors as well. We also looked at Azure. However, the solution was not there at the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now that we've got a little idea about how you chose AWS, what was separating AWS from the others?
The key differentiators were they were definitely SAP certified server configurations and the partnership that they had with SAP. That was one of the biggest ones. They have a highly reliable infrastructure across the globe. And this was probably one of the ones that tickled my CFO a little bit, was the fact that we went from CapEx to OpEx model, reducing TCO.
I guess that just lends the question, why AWS? Can you elaborate and be a little more specific?
Well, in addition to what I just mentioned, the personal favorite one of mine was we're able to achieve cost and performance optimization based on the needs of the business. So I have complete flexibility and scalability, irrelevant of where the requirement is needed. It could be in Asia, it could be in the US, it really doesn't matter. We are able to cover that from a global perspective. Improved performance, it improves the experience for my end users. It has been cost effective with redundancy for DR at a global level. And it has provided end-to-end solution.
Very good. Well, so now that we know what the best platform is and why it's been selected, what led you to inviting us, Mactores, to your transformation party?
Well, I'll tell you, this is a party that doesn't seem to end, but very enjoyable at times. The IT strategy has always been to leverage external partners to manage AWS. This provided the opportunity to leverage a faster ramp-up to support the implementation project with minimal internal resources. That was one of the key things. They had strong capabilities in AWS and have a close working relationship with our SI partner.
So, okay, how about the experience itself? Can you tell us your experience throughout the process of your SAP on AWS implementation?
The experience has been extremely positive. After completing negotiations with Mactores, they stepped in, they did an assessment of our current environment based on our requirements. They proposed an architectural design. We made some modifications and approvals and moved forward with developing the environment. I believe our environment was up and running within weeks.
Weeks? Yeah.
Yes, weeks.
Is that meeting expectations?
Oh, I think it was above and beyond, to be very honest with you.
Okay. Well, that's great. So let's talk some numbers now. Maybe you could give everybody a few stats and figures and statements that kind of, just drive it home and to bring a little definition to it.
Well, the stats that I have here is primarily based on what we have completed on our PLM. SAP is still in process, but based on what I've pretty much forecasted moving forward, we're looking at, within UCT, approximately 1,400 users once we go live with SAP. All SAP modules, with the exception of HR, legal, and marketing, have been or will be implemented by mid of 2018. And currently, we're looking at, from a business usage, 90% of our business worldwide will be on SAP. I've got a projected cost savings conservatively about 40%, although still crunching numbers. From a optimization standpoint, we have completed our PLM in AWS, and within the last 4 months have maintain great stability and are currently looking at optimization. So we should expect, I would say, minimum 20 to 30% cost savings just in the PLM itself.
Fantastic. So I guess that leads to the question, then, are there plans to further leverage Mactores and AWS and the process you're going through now?
Absolutely. We're looking into options to leverage AWS for other applications. Like I mentioned earlier, our PLM is already completely functional and running. DR capabilities are already in place, and I'm currently running a proof of concept for our backup strategy using Amazon's S3 capabilities and potentially extending to Glacier.
Great. Well, that's thank you, Victor. As someone that's gone through this impressive experience of transformation, I'm sure you're going to have some followers here, a lot of questions. So with that, let's connect back to Bill Tim. Hey, Bill, can you help us sort through the various questions? And Victor and myself, and I've got a representative from Mactores' engineering team. And then along with you, of course, Bill, we can do our best to answer any questions the audience might have.
Sure. Yes, we have a few questions here in the queue. First question is, do you have an SAP on the AWS calculator which will help me find out about the TCO for my landscape?
Oh, that's interesting. I'll take that. This is Dan. I had probably meant to state that earlier, but yeah, if you go to buildmysap.com, that's an impressive tool that's going to give you the ability to put in some information about your SAP, about the users, about your locations, just 4 or 5 data points. And that's going to produce some results for you that you can utilize internally and kind of have those initial discussions. It's going to produce an architecture diagram. It's going to produce a proposed deployment plan. It's even going to produce a TCO based on the landscape that you set up through the answers of those questions. So I encourage you just to take a moment and go there and play with that. You can even do a couple different ones if you're thinking about different locations or different ways to approaching your transformation, and then we're happy to talk through kind of what it means or what might be next if you want to get deeper into the dialogue. But good question, thank you.
Next question. You made a claim that deployments can happen in hours. How is that even possible?
Yeah, hey, I'm going to ask hey, Balk, would you mind taking that one?
Sure, Dan, thank you. So what makes it possible is we have been deploying SAP on AWS for the last 5 years, and that has helped us build extreme level of automation, including automation at the infrastructure, automation of deploying SAP through scripts inside the VMs, as well as performing post-installation steps by a pre-programmed script which is customized for each of our customers. We have been successfully deploying SAP with the infrastructure within 4 to 5 hours for landscapes as large as 7 environments, which involves multiple complex products and integration of those products with each other through a complex scripts, and a designer which we have internally developed, which helps us create a complete recipe of an SAP deployment. It's a good question. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next question. Can you explain how the integration with Redshift and SAP works?
Sure. SAP and Redshift are very compatible with each other. So what we will use is we have used connectors through data flow, AWS data flow services, as well as we have built our own connectors, which helps us connect with either SAP HANA or Oracle databases, and also connect those with other applications, which helps us integrate all data, which we say it's a business data warehouse of SAP product. We try to augment that inside Redshift by collecting data from different sources and then performing OLAP queries for our customers to represent them through as a report or as dashboards. So we have been using different sets of technologies to connect SAP with Redshift, which reduces the data warehousing cost phenomenally. At the same time, provides you with very high-end and cutting-edge BI tools as well as machine learning tools over Redshift.
Great, thank you. I think this one is for Victor. For PLM, are you referring to S4 HANA PLM or some other PLM solution?
No, this is a third-party solution. We did not use SAP PLM.
So, Victor, how are you managing your SAP on AWS landscape?
That we have a system implementation partner.
Oh, okay, you're working with a SAP SI for the application implementation. Great.
Correct.
And there's one last question here. What was the top reason for you to move to AWS? I'm guessing this is directed towards you, Victor.
The reason was that we evaluated putting it on premise in our data center, looked at the total cost of ownership from a infrastructure side, as well as the support and resource that would be required in order to do an on-prem installation for SAP. And we felt that from a TCO perspective, it was a better decision or solution to go with cloud-based solution. AWS, after several evaluations and overviewing of other vendors, we did select AWS based on the primary points, which were the total cost of ownership, the efficiency and effectiveness of the solution, high reliability, and speed to bring up and down the environments as needed.
I encourage you to check out that buildmysap.com. It will explain a lot and open up the eyes to a lot of factors that that will help you in your journey. So buildmysap.com. Thank you.
So I think we will end the webinar here. Again, thank you all for attending, and thank you to Dan and Victor for co-presenting with me today. Thank you all.